Is that mic on? Yeah? Yeah. How are you? Good to see you tonight. I've had quite a bad month. About 2 weeks ago I suffered a severe skeletal injury when I slipped and fell whilst putting on my socks in the morning against a wooden bed frame. This isn't part of the comedy, stop. When I spoke to my sister about it, yes. The star of the show on my evening. Anyway, I spoke to my sister about it. She said to me, "Hang on a second, Carl. You stand up when you're putting on your socks." I said, "But of course. Who sits down when they're putting on their socks? That's preposterous. It's lazy. It's very fucking lazy, right?" So anyway, I've got bad balance issues, you know. I've got bad balance issues due to a series of injuries that I suffered having an elite youth sportsman career. Roller hockey. Roller hockey, yeah, no, I'm that guy. Yeah, we'll do autographs after, don't worry about it. So don't worry about it. And it was tough growing up for me, you know, because I had all these injuries, but I was also raised on the mean streets of North Dublin, you know? I'm from Malahide. So it was tough, you know? It was very tough. So that morning anyway, I walked into the Leia healthcare clinic like Mr. Burns on fentanyl. The woman behind the counter smiled. She said, "Oh, good morning, how can we help you?" One of these obnoxiously positive people. You know, like, that fella didn't work after you come back from the Christmas break and he's like, "Woo, great to get back into a routine." Like, alright Frank, that's fantastic and all. Alright Frank, that's fantastic and all, but is there any chance you want to just shove that right up your dick? Shove it up your fucking dick, Frank. Yeah? Right, so the lady behind the counter, she said to me, "It's going to be €75. And I said, "I'm not sure you're aware, but it's not for... I'm actually a Leia Healthcare Premium member." She said, "Yeah, no, that doesn't matter. The €75, it's actually for the consultation and for the parking." €75 for fucking parking? Sorry, I was unaware that I had accidentally parked outside the fucking Taj Mahal. There want to be 3 supermodels out there right now giving my Ford Fiesta a fucking sponge bath for €75. You know what I mean? 75 quid. I could have just got 0.7 grams of coke, 2 bottles of Australian Chenin Blanc and a Lost Mary for 75 quid. I'm not sure that that's the exact market around that. So next of all I get called into an x-ray. There's some fucking spindly little arrogant geek. It's like, "Mr. Bradshaw, come in here right now, stand over there, stand right over there." I'm like, look at this fucking Poindexter handing out orders, you know? Looks like the type of fellow who goes to the Phoenix Park on a Saturday to play Quidditch. He looks like the type of fellow that stays up all night in some randomer's kitchen getting whacked off World of Warcraft. This fucking geek. He looks like the type of fellow who kisses his dad on the lips on Christmas morning. Fucking loser. Anyway. Preposterous. So, anyway, next of all, I'm sitting in the waiting room. I get called in by a rather voluptuous Mediterranean doctor. She says, "Mr. Bradshaw, come into my office." Yeah. Thinking this is a bit more like it. Here we go. She likes what she fucking sees. You know? So I get in. She says, "I got a great news, Mr. Bradshaw. It's not a broken. It's only a teeny tiny fracture." I'm like, "Oh, this is a fucking disaster. I'm going to have to tell the boys I'm coming for an x-ray. If I tell them I've got a teeny tiny fracture, I'm fucked." So, before I say this next piece, I do want to just clarify, right? I'm a feminist. It's important to say. I'm a staunch believer in women's rights. In fact, about 7 years ago, I donated €39.50 to breast cancer research. Tax deductible, of course. And you know what? I think it's fantastic that Maria Las Cuentos, or whatever the fuck her name is having a go here. She's doing her best. And you know what? She looks great in the uniform, lad. She looked really great in the uniform, importantly. But now I think, unfortunately, at this juncture, maybe it's time for a second opinion, you know? So I said, that's great, Doc, but any chance you want to fly those scans into fucking Harry Potter there in the X-ray department, maybe see if he can throw his eyes over it? She says, not necessary, Mr. Bradshaw, so not necessary. Just take these tablets, but promise me, no alcohol, and no grapefruit. No grapefruit, I react badly. I thought to myself, no grapefruit? Let me tell you, I don't even know what a fucking grapefruit is. Yeah? See, when I was in school, you would have been battered for bringing in a grapefruit. You'd be punched over in the corner of the yard, boys milling satsumas at you. Oi, Bradshaw's got a grapefruit. Kick his fucking head in. I thought to myself, they're the old days. I'm not in school anymore. And I'm sick of these medical professionals telling me what to do. Like, shove it up your dick. Maria Las Cuentos, shove it up your dick. So I went to Donnybrook Fair and I got myself 2 organic grapefruits. Because I'm a fucking mad bastard, yeah? Now, about 40 minutes after eating the grapefruits, for some unrelated reason, I began to feel quite dizzy and nauseous, you know? So I stood up, I went to walk to bed. I chuckled to myself at the ridiculous notion of my sloth-like sister lazily taking off her socks before bed while sitting down. Ridiculous. And then, due only to my sports injuries from my illustrious career autographs later, I slipped, I fell over, and I smashed my head off my wooden bed frame. 2 hours later, I was back in the fucking Leia healthcare clinic. I've had a bad month. Listen, thanks very much. Thanks for playing.